Good evening and welcome back to Saints Live, where Southampton have beaten Watford 3-1 to move up to 40 points in the Premier League table. Loads of you have been commenting, which Kenzie will do her utmost to get through, loads of them in the next few minutes as we talk all the points of the game. But first, let's welcome back Dean and Adam. And first up, gents, one for both of you. What's your initial reactions after the final whistle there? Let's go with you, Dean, first.
Well, obviously an excellent result, a really good reaction from the team from the result against Arsenal, a really disciplined performance. The tactics and the changes really worked from the manager, brought some energy back to the team. And we spoke before the game about Watford's physical attributes, their power, but we matched them and overrun them at times, really. Kept the ball really well, really strong and comfortable in possession, looked really relaxed, but played with aggression as well. Excellent finishes, every goal taken really, really well. More chances in the game for other players. Impact from players from the bench as well, which was really good. Younger players coming and seeing that perform really well. So an excellent performance from Southampton, puts them on that magic 40 points. And can look forward to enjoying the season strongly, maybe giving other players an opportunity. But a really, really good performance and really pleasing and really exciting and entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I completely concur with everything Dean said there. I mean, we said beforehand we thought Watford, I said that they can be a bit one-dimensional in their direct play. And that was exactly what we saw. They were almost entirely one-dimensional today. It was meat and drink stuff, really. We talked again before the game about Vestergaard and how, in the air he can be very dominant, but sometimes, with the ball in and around his feet, with quick players, getting second balls and knockdowns maybe off of Deeney, it could cause some problems. But Watford never did anything that threatened that. They never really got anybody near Deeney, despite playing almost everything up through him. And it was meat and drink for the Saints defence. It was really easy pickings. But then on top of that, I think Saints also did very well, that kind of pressing game. The way they closed in twos, threes, fours, they never gave Watford any time on the ball at all. And when the game got a little bit tight, when Watford kind of got a goal back, they did a good job of shutting it down again. They kept possession, they kept the ball, went back to the things they were doing well. A really good 3 points, thoroughly deserved. Absolutely no complaints from Watford whatsoever. And as Dean said, I mean, hitting 40 points now after only 3 games of the restart, that is as good as you could ask, really. So terrific stuff from Saints.
Dean, Watford did start the second half on the front foot, but Southampton's dominance in the first half was particularly impressive given the amount of changes that Ralph made to the starting 11.
Yes, but I think we spoke before the game that because the club and the manager and the players now understand the shape that's been brought into the football club, any player that comes in will know what position he's going to play and he will understand that role of the position. So as long as the player's switched on, aware and intelligent, they'll be able to play. So the changes, it was good to see players coming in and making impression and show the manager that they're worthy of their place. But yeah, playing off that shape that hopefully will come from the first team down through the club now. Any player coming in, younger player, experienced player, will just be able to settle in quickly and mould into the team. So it worked really well today. Southampton, I can't give them enough plaudits. They were so impressive on and off the ball. And the energy they played with, whatever they've done within this mini pre-season and break, has been fantastic because they look sharp. And other teams they played against don't look as sharp as them. So credit to the management staff and the players.
A nice thing as well, I'd say, is obviously given there were some difficult moments earlier in this season, is now you come back after the restart and you see them playing the games that they've played, and against the bottom teams there, the struggling teams, Norwich and Watford, they have looked a cut above that kind of club now and that kind of team. They look far, far superior to clubs like that. Yes, all right, Arsenal, okay, they've got a lot of extra quality. Arsenal, they paid a lot of money for that quality. Of course, they've got some extra firepower, but against those teams that earlier in the season we thought, oh, these are the teams that Saints might be competing against to try and stay in the division. The sort of turnaround this season, how Hasenhüttl's got the team playing now, they look far superior to that quality of team now. That whole relegation scrap seems a mile off from the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, when we look at the key players in the side, and you talk about Danny Ings with his goals, and we'll get onto those in a sec, but our new captain, James Ward-Prowse, with a magnificent free kick. Is he now one of the first names, well, obviously he's a captain, but the first names on the team sheets, really cemented his place in the squad? Just how important is he to this side now?
Yeah, he's obviously being captain. He has that role, and I think that extra responsibility that he's getting now, that he probably feels as being captain, is helping him. Playing centrally in a position that he feels natural to, that he probably wants to play there, has helped him. Players around him that are performing well and playing better has helped him. But he's a really, really good player. He does everything well. He's comfortable in possession. He's fit. He's strong. He leads by example. His dead ball delivery is, is there anyone better? With his dead ball delivery, I know how hard he works at that. It's a natural thing. I understand that, but he works hard at his game. And he's thriving, and he's still only so young. He's played a lot of games, but I love to see it with the players. All of them, they're all playing with a smile on their face. I know it's easy to smile when you're winning, but they look relaxed. They look like there's a belief in each other, in the way they're playing. They look comfortable. They look happy playing with each other, and it just shows in their performances. Like Adam said, they're playing against teams that are around them, near the bottom of the table, where you think they won't be as relaxed. There's going to be some tension on it. It is so important. But no, they've just thrived from it, and they look a cut above.
Well, Dean, you said that the players are playing with a smile on their face, and they're certainly not the only ones, because the fans at home are understandably absolutely buzzing after another fantastic result on the road. So we're going to fly through some of these comments now. Toby Rogers has said, fantastic win. Shame Ings didn't get the third. On YouTube, we have a comment saying here, Ings Player of the Year. Another great performance from him. Carl Bridge on YouTube has said, what a performance from the lads. Was impressed with Yannick and Jan. Ethan on YouTube has said Shea was so unlucky. He did come close there at the end, didn't he, Ethan? Tony Burns also joining us on Facebook. Good evening. He's given a lot of love for the whole team. He's saying Walker-Peters was bang on, pleased with Smallbone. Ings is on fire. Ward-Prowse's free kick was class. Vestergaard's best game. Great team effort. Best I've seen us for a while. So very happy fans indeed. Graham Hill has said fantastic performance from everyone. And Dave Rudd on Facebook has said great performance. Would have been perfect if Adams could have put that one away at the end. So naturally the fans are very, very happy, Adam and Dean. Obviously a few obvious standout performers, but who particularly impressed you from today's game against Watford, Adam?
Well, I mean, I agree with Dean. Obviously, Danny Ings is the obvious one. We could talk more about his goals, but obviously, he did well. I totally agree. I thought Ward-Prowse was excellent. I thought Kyle Walker-Peters came in and really did well for me today. He really impressed and showed a lot about what he's got to offer. Vestergaard obviously hasn't played. I say hasn't played for a long time. Of course, nobody has played all that much recently, but you know what I mean. He's not been in the side. He's not been a regular this season. So for him to come in and look composed, I mean, Deeney is their battering ram. He's a big physical presence. He doesn't give up. He's a competitor, and really Vestergaard, along with Bednarek, just throws him out of the game. They gave him absolutely nothing. I mean, there wasn't a poor performance out there. I mean, Will Smallbone deserves a mention as well. Stu Armstrong obviously given a bit of a breather today. Ralph needed to freshen up the team. Stu's played obviously very well. We've talked about that over the last couple of games as well, but needed a bit of freshness. So good chance to give Smallbone a game. He came in, he looked comfortable. I wouldn't have said he was outstanding, but he looked comfortable, and kind of for a youngster coming in the team, that's really as much as you can ask. And then to be fair to Ralph, he made that change, bringing Armstrong back in for that extra experience, the extra sort of ability to keep the ball, a bit of extra composure. at the perfect time as well, because that really helps. So, to be honest with you, there's some key performers there picked out, I guess, but I thought it was a strong performance from everybody. There's nobody there who you looked at and thought that even they were just average. Everybody played well today.
Yeah, one of the comments about Shay Adams, all we needed is a goal from him. He was so unlucky. He was through one-on-one with Foster. What has he got to do to just break that duck? Because he just seems to be the unluckiest guy in the Saints team right now.
Well, I played with Shay at Sheffield United, so I know what he's like. He's a young lad. All he's got to do is what he did when he came on today. He looked like he came on the pitch hungry. His touch was good. His awareness was good. He looked sharp. He looked like he was keen to make an impression. He wanted to get into areas where he could get a shot off. He looked powerful. He's a good player, Shay. He's got real potential, and I think he will be a good signing for Southampton. He just needs some time. So when he gets that opportunity, coming off the bench, or potentially now with the club being almost safe, if he gets that chance, getting that first goal as a striker is so important. It just gives you belief, it gives you confidence, and luckily enough, he's playing with good strikers at the football club, so he's got players to learn off. So it will come good for Shay. He's a good player, and hopefully he'll get a chance within the next 5-6 games of the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I agree with Dean as well on that one. I still feel like he will be a good signing for Saints. I think that's fair, and I think it's easy when a striker's not scoring to kind of forget some things about the way that they play as well. And if you cast your mind back to not long after he'd signed, the first sort of half dozen, 10 games, he played really well. He was excellent. He was just very unlucky. I mean, there was all sorts. I mean, he was, pretty much anything that could have gone wrong in terms of bad luck to prevent him scoring did happen. I mean, woodwork, off the line, misfortune. It was just like fate that he wasn't going to get the ball over the line. Then, of course, I think Ralph felt like he had to take him out, kind of give him a bit of a break, mentally refresh him a little bit. Ings has obviously been superb, and the partnership with Long has kept Adams out of the team. But I think he's just got to keep going, and it will come good. He's obviously a good talent. From everything I hear from people there, he's a good character as well. I'm sure Dean can attest to that as well, having played with him. And you just need a bit of luck, don't you? I mean, you look at the second goal from Ings. I think that was possibly not on target, and you get that deflection, and suddenly it's in the back of the net. Your Shay Adams, you go through, you hit an absolute beauty of a shot. It's going through the goalkeeper's legs, gets that little nick, and it goes wide of the far post. And those are the sort of margins and the things that can happen to you, especially as a striker and as you go through your career. But you just have to hang in there. He scored loads of goals before, so he just has to believe that they'll come again. And as Dean said, this might be the perfect opportunity now to give him a few games again at the end of the season to try and get himself up and running and get on the score sheet.
Well, the fans are very much echoing what's really being said on Saints Live. Understandably, very happy people watching at home. So many comments flooding in, so much love across social media. Sharon Whitlock said Ings for the golden boot. Andrew on Facebook has said brilliant display, so much better than Watford. Prowsey was outstanding, but they all were. Thank you, Saints. Happy here in Suffolk, as are we on the south coast. Dan Spencer has said James Ward-Prowse was incredible today. Rosemary Rickett on YouTube has said Sunday afternoon delight, 3-1 to the Saints. Now for Prosecco and chocolate. I think you did something similar when we played Norwich, actually. You've got it all locked down. You know exactly how to celebrate a win. Toby said good to see them ride out the pressure in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Great goals, great energy without the ball. Harry Cox on YouTube has said Ings for at least 21 goals this season and a golden boot. A couple of comments there saying he deserves the golden boot. Reece Scott on Facebook has said great reaction from the lads, very good performance, great battle between Stuart Armstrong and Will Smallbone, developing for starting position. So absolutely loads of comments coming in from you, the fans. Keep them coming in. It's great to hear how thrilled you are after the win. We have touched on Danny Ings, Adam and Dean, but let's talk more in depth then about his brace today. Dean, we'll start with you. It almost seems inevitable now that he's going to score.
It does. He's a player playing with real confidence. A striker that's got quality like he has. He's got movement like he has. Got understanding of his position like he has. That plays with confidence and looks happy and injury free. Is a dangerous player, and he looks like he enjoys scoring. He looks like he enjoys taking the responsibility of shooting. He makes good decisions as well. He's pretty aware that when to pass and when to shoot. He's not one of those strikers that will just shoot from anywhere. His movement is good. The first half, he played a little bit deeper and Shea was going in behind, so he was getting the space in the hole, and that's how his first goal came. But he's clinical, really is. And, Southampton having a striker like that's the difference, really. The major difference between the clubs down there. Having a striker like that, having a partnership with Long up front has been great for him. So they've benefited off each other. But getting 20 goals for Southampton in one season has been great, and it's just nice to see him happy, injury free, and being successful as he is. And I think he'll get a call up for England. That he deserves it, and that's great for the club as well. And I mentioned it before, it's great for younger players coming through to have a player like him at the football club to learn off. Because I don't know Danny myself, but you look at him and people speak very highly of him. So he looks like he's got a good personality and a good attitude. So, yeah, brilliant for Southampton to have a player like him.
Yeah, as you say, Dean, 20 goals for Southampton, 18 in the Premier League this season, and the first player to reach 10 away goals. So, Adam, is it too much to put it past him that he's going to get the Golden Boot this year?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's up there. He's up there with, a handful of games left to go. I mean, he's got every chance. I think the other thing to say about him is that what makes perhaps it even more remarkable is that he's done this in a team that has, for large periods of the season, struggled. And that makes it even more incredible. You expect your Salahs of the world, your Agueros, Harry Kanes, who are playing in the top teams, to be able to score a lot of goals because by virtue they're winning most games and they're getting lots of chances created in their teams. But Danny Ings has scored a lot of his goals at points in time where Saints have actually struggled. So to do that shows just how it makes it an even more remarkable effort, an even more remarkable achievement for him. He's got every chance of getting the Golden Boot. And we talked about Danny Ings before the first game of the restart, and we talked about England opportunities, and so I gave the view that playing for a less fashionable club like Saints, he has to force his way in by continuing to score. He's not going to get leeway because of who he is, and he's really doing that. And I think the other thing as well from a Saints point of view is obviously there was a lot of excitement when he signed. Then he sort of had a bit of a dip and some injury problems. And I think there was a lot of grumbling of, oh, blimey, we've sort of bought a bit of a crock here. But actually, I think now you're getting that benefit of seeing him fit all the time, that without any disrespect, he's probably a quality of striker that if it wasn't for those injury problems, Saints could not have recruited. And you're really seeing that extra quality that he brings, which is, a European competing, Champions League, a Europa League type striker, but playing for Saints, and you don't get many of those at a club like Southampton. So you kind of got to hold on to them and cherish them. And the good thing from Saints' point of view is probably because of those injury problems that he's had in the past, they're probably not going to have to fight off hordes of big clubs coming back for him. And so it's a win-win all round, and he obviously looks so happy. He's enjoying it so much. I mean, why would you not if you're him, I suppose? But it just is fantastic to see. And everybody knows he's a Southampton lad through and through. All his family are down here. They love Saints. They're big fans of the club. So what a great position to be in, to be the hero of the club that, your local club that you grew up loving, or your family loved. What an incredible time to be Danny Ings. It's fantastic.
I love that. We all want to be Danny Ings at this moment in time, don't we? He's probably loving life, no doubt. Well, let's take a look at what that result means in the wider scheme of things then. Watford in real trouble now, and there's Southampton in 13th position. Dean, so good to see us moving up in the table. How are you feeling kind of looking at that league table there?
strong. It looks very healthy for the club. I think the club should be looking up now. We're secure, we're safe, we'll be in the Premier League next season. So it depends what the club and the manager wants to do now. Will he experiment? Will he blood some younger players? Will he give them an opportunity? Or will he potentially look towards next season and think, well, the team's playing really well. I can keep a settled team. I can play another 5 or 6 games with a similar team, really nail down the positions and the formation and partnerships within the team. To then, I'm led to believe there's only going to be a short break between this season finishing and the next one. So, you can kind of finish this season really, really strong to then really start next season even stronger. So he's got some decisions to make. It's putting some youngsters in the team, giving them an opportunity is good, really good for the club. That's the philosophy of the club. But, the team is playing very well. They're very dominant. They're playing with confidence. So there's an argument that you keep the same team, keep them growing together and keep improving together to become an even better team.
Yeah, they say there's no easy games in the Premier League, and the next 3 certainly aren't. We've got Man City at home, Everton away, and then Manchester United away. Adam, going forward, what do you expect from those?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, Steve, to point out those fixtures, because I think that all plays into what Dean said in terms of if you're Ralph, you're looking at it and it is easy to make the kind of flippant comment of, oh, they're safe now, so, blood some youngsters, play some different players. But you've also got a responsibility not only to trying to get more results for the football club, but also to the players that you bring in. You can't just, chuck a bunch of youngsters at Manchester City, because that's not going to be good for them in all likelihood. So it's a difficult balancing act now for Ralph. I think the way ahead is probably to stick with kind of largely the same team and then make a couple of changes here and there as you go along, to bring in 1 or 2 when it's when it feels like an appropriate moment. Because the other thing I think Dean's quite correct to point out is if there is only a short break, then in sport we all know momentum is king. You want to go into that break really on the back of something very positive that you started, the ball rolling, because then you can go open up the next season with that kind of feeling. You want to just hand that away and give it back now. But that said, there are a few players that do need a chance. They do need to be looked at. They do need to be given some more game time. So I'd expect Ralph from here to kind of stick with the bulk of the team, but then maybe make 2 or 3 of those little changes each game to give a few others a chance to shine. And that seems to me probably the most sensible way forward from here.
Well, let's jump back onto our socials and take a look at what everyone at home is saying right now. Philip Davies says, worth getting up for in Australia. Great work, guys. Best I've seen for quite some time. Thanks for the early wake-up call and for joining us, Philip. Anthony said on YouTube, so glad Ralph signed the extension. Really feel like we can only go upwards at this point. Shea will get there. He certainly will. Steve O'Connell on Facebook has said, a brilliant win. Top 10, not out of reach. A really interesting point, which I'll come back to. Lee Fuller has said, great result. Ingsy doing what he does. Awesome free kick by Prowsey. Well done, Vestergaard too. Done very well today, got his head on everything. And Jack Lewis on YouTube said, cannot wait to see the highlights. It's always a sign of a good game when you're buzzing to watch the highlights later on. Now, Steve said a brilliant win, top 10 finish, not out of reach. What do you think about that, Dean? Can we make it into top 10?
It's possible, of course it is, and why not aim for that? Well, I mean, it's a good feeling of looking up and having ambitions to try and get in that top 10. Especially where the season's been up and down and indifferent. The team's found some form. So why not set a mini goal of trying to reach the top 10? But that all it goes back to what we just spoke about. It depends what the manager and the club want to do now. Do they want to maybe look towards next season of getting a bit more experience within the younger players so it makes the squad more experienced for next year? Do they want to, like Adam said, do they want to keep the momentum going of winning games, feeling good, feeling confident? So the main objective would have been to get to safety, 40 points, make sure the club is in the Premier League next year. So it is, but why not look up? Why not? I know the players will be thinking now, let's keep winning games. One thing I think would be good to maybe try and win 1 or 2 home games before the end of the season. That would be good. That would put the icing on the cake. Just to finish it off and kind of tick that off for next season, thinking, okay, we've got past this period now. We've won a couple of games at home. Our away form's really good. Go into the new season, confidence, fans hopefully back in the stadium, everyone back together, and it could be a really successful season.
Yeah, just to look at Watford, lastly, they're on 28 points. They're just 1 point above 2 teams that are in the relegation places. What do you make for the rest of their season? Are they still got a chance of staving relegation off?
Well, I mean, yes, they have a chance because they're in and around a bunch of other teams who can't win by a win for love nor money. So, I mean, in that respect, they've got a chance, but they're going to have to be a lot better than they were today. I mean, they were poor for the majority of that game, other than kind of a couple of brief moments and what you'd expect after a very poor first half, a reaction immediately after half time when the managers got into them. They were poor, but I think that their future is going to be decided that 3-game run where they've got Norwich, Newcastle, West Ham, and that is going to decide their fate. The other games they've got, I think Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, I think probably will lose all of those, you'd imagine, or struggle to get much out of them. So they're one of those clubs that are down there. They've got their fate in their own hands. They've got to play 1 or 2 other clubs that are down there and who are also lacking in confidence as well, as they clearly were. So they've got a chance, but there's probably, you look at how much the teams down there have struggled after the restart, you've probably only got to win a couple of games, really, with a couple of wins and a draw, and you're probably going to do it. It's just a case of, can they do it or not? Playing like that is going to be a struggle, I think, even against some of the teams that are around them, because the other teams around them just feel 1 or 2 of them have just got a little bit of extra quality. But they're in there, they're going to be scrapping away, they're going to be fighting, so they've kind of got a chance, but it's going to be a tense end to the season for them. It's hard to imagine them getting in a position where they feel really safe. In 3 or 4 games' time, it's probably going to go to the wire.
Well, Adam, Dean, thank you very much for your company as always, and thank you to everybody who's tuned in at home to join us on Saints Live. Remember, a week today we host Pep Guardiola's Manchester City at St Mary's. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff, and we'll be back for another Saints Live. So do make sure you join us. But before then, stay safe and have a great week. Bye for now.